All right, Jake.
Hello.
What is a 6.9?
It's an integer. Isn't
It is an integer, but what is it also?
It's the sex number.
Well, 69's a sex number, but what's 6.9?
Nearly 7.
Another good thing screwed up by a period.
Oh man.
That's one of the worst ones I've had.
That was
I
awful.
remember I looked at it and I was like, I kind of don't want to read that.
Oh well.
Anyway.
There's a bit of humor for everyone, isn't there?
Oh yes, target audience, especially with Torchwood. Hello and welcome to our reaction to Torchwood Series 1 Episode 4, which Jake does not know the title of, but you all do.
Yeah, Untitled.
Untitled. Last time we had Ghost Machine, which we really liked.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're moving into Episode 4.
Yes.
Any anticipations?
Yes. No, I can't. Well, I don't know. Don't know what it's called. I'm going in truly blind this time.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well then, before we get into it, I'll just mention that on Patreon you can watch our full-length reaction to this episode and other Torchwood and Doctor Who episodes. We also have a Twitter, a Discord, and a Letterboxd in the description as well. So, shall we get on with this episode, Jake?
Yes.
Alrighty.
Why is there so much squealing? It's
pterodactyl.
Pterodactyl.
Oh, that's just cheating.
Oh, come on. Uh-oh.
Better focus on Yanto, eh?
Yanto's bugging out.
I've got a funny feeling.
God. They're from the Matrix?
I've got a funny feeling you may be able to see the title, but I'm not sure. We'll see. Ugh, coleslaw.
You don't like coleslaw?
I mean, I work at KFC, so it triggers me anyway.
Alright. Who's this guy? He delivers pizza in a steel briefcase?
I mean, I think this might be a different delivery to the pizza.
Ah. A different kind of delivery.
I really did.
What, you done, Yanto?
I think you will be able to see the title.
Is the title Robo Girl?
Not quite.
I like this weird start, that was pretty cool. It's like real weird. You know? I don't know why, but Yanto reminds me of Jarvis, but just like human.
True.
But
not Vision. Cyberwoman by Chris Chibnall.
Oh god. James Strong.
Lisa was halfway through the process when the machinery shut down. You found her?
This is from the Series 2 finale.
Oh wow.
He was there.
Oh, so Yanto worked at a different Torchwood.
Well, the one that we saw at Canary Wharf.
Yeah.
Amazing. Perhaps.
Come on, Chris. You fuck.
Sometimes, in order to save what we love, we have to risk losing it.
Oh god, that's so
A
cringy.
little bit overdramatic.
Oh fuck's sakes. Oh, it was so good up until then.
She's breathing. It worked.
Why aren't I connected?
You're alive.
God,
He kept you alive.
I can't stand Chris Chibnall's dialogue. Like, the actors are good, but like the dialogue is just so wooden.
So garbage.
quickly.
Oh my god. It was so good.
Yeah.
It was so good.
I want to walk. Please.
Oh my god. Chris White.
Yeah.
I'm alive.
I don't know why it's so funny.
I don't know if I can. Oh my god.
Oh my god.
How long will this take to devolve into shit? 10 minutes.
It's alright. There's still time to save it.
Still time. I've got hope.
He's just gonna dial down on the fucking dialogue. It's just...
He just needs to write one line of dialogue every 5 minutes, and we're good.
You gotta be so charming to get away with this dialogue. That's
That was cool.
Yeah.
Did you see
Yeah,
that? That shot was cool. It's a saving grace
So yeah,
in the last 5
Yanto
minutes.
smuggled her in there, apparently. And Jack had no idea.
Very weak.
I love this shot, actually, the rotating. That's what I wanted from the last episode, actually, the rotating.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Whoa! Do you remember much from this episode? Or
I
not
do
really?
remember, yeah, I do remember.
Okay.
It's just been a while. Oh, jeez. He's trying to convert him. She's trying to convert him, I mean.
Oh.
Oh, we've seen one of those before.
Come on with the crash zooms, please. Stop. It's not the office.
Tell me you didn't do this.
I wanted to repay
Oh, that's messed up! Oh my god!
of his humanity.
Jesus!
What have you done? You didn't mean. You've ruined everything now. Don't come out unless I tell you.
That's very controlling.
This can't happen. I can do this.
What's going on, Connor? Oh god.
Oh, Christ. That is gory. That is fucking... Oh, Jesus. I'm pretty sensitive to gore, to be honest.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's a gnarly
Yeah.
shot.
Everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah, you think, Yanto, you think it's all gonna be okay. Look at that. This has all happened because of him, because of his attachment. He's using up all the power.
She's supercharging.
He's just realized he's in so much trouble, and like nothing's gone right. It's like ultimate rock in a hard place.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Ah.
What the hell's going on here?
Oh god.
Warning anyone with epilepsy.
Just make sure it never gets to the outside world.
Okay. Uh-oh. This darkness is making me realize I need to clean my monitor.
Torchwood exists to destroy alien threats. Why will I tell you about her?
A little loyalty, perhaps.
My loyalty's to her.
Oh, welcome back.
She worked. Lisa! It's me.
It's me.
Lisa, please. I brought you here to heal you. So we could be together.
Oh.
Then we are not compatible.
Oh shit.
Cordline maneuvers, go!
That sounds like R2D2. Here's a Johnny.
Shit.
Oh, some character development.
Oh god. The fuck are you doing on? Oh, I actually no, I understand. I get it now. He's trying to stop her from breathing and making noise.
Alright.
Oh fuck. Uh-oh.
Alright, lover, it's the man of your dreams. I've had a couple of beers with Dav, and we're off for a curry. So, can you video white
Oh, for the curry.
Bit busy.
Oh, it's not like I fancy you or anything.
I was on top of you. I could feel your heart on.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah. Well, you didn't exactly struggle, did you?
God.
Stay back. This'll at least give you a heartburn.
The power will run out.
Chris. That's a slapper.
Pulling your leg, son.
Come on, Tosh, hurry up. You'll kill her.
Oh, the pterodactyl. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. A Cyberman and a pterodactyl. That's no ordinary woodpecker.
Oh shit.
Uh-oh. That's right, Yanto ordered pizza, remember?
Yeah. Yanto. Oh, Yanto. Oh, the old switcheroo.
Better be prepared to follow.
You can't order me to do that.
You execute her or I'll execute you both.
I won't do it. You can't make me. You like to think you're a hero, but you're the biggest monster of all.
That's a big mess. And a lot of blood. And a lot of pizza.
Oh no.
Not the pizza!
Yanto's a bit of a dummy, isn't he?
Well, he was attached to her, made all these mistakes, and still is attached.
Yanto, it's me. It's Lisa.
Oh god.
I'm human again.
She had a brain transplant!
You're not Lisa. You're not Lisa.
It was a Saturday. We were hungover. You made cheese toasties and moaned I hadn't descaled my kettle. That night we came.
Oh.
When we woke up the next morning, a dog was pissing on our tent.
Not the dog.
Oh my god!
This is one of the worst things I've ever
I
seen.
know! It's so funny! She had a brain transplant!
You're not Lisa.
Oh my god!
What are you doing?
Wait, what?
Yanto, it's me. You wouldn't show.
When are
Oh my god, someone just do something. Fuck.
Jesus.
Nothing's happened. Oh. Oh. Firing squad.
I gave them 10 minutes.
Everyone had a shot. Bada bing, bada boom. Anyway, I just started blasting.
He dug himself a very big hole. Very big hole, and it just got worse.
Yanto, more like, you aren't to do that.
It's like that scene in Return of the Jedi where they all nod each other.
Someone just winks.
Yeah.
It's just like, oh.
I've got a lot to say in the review. I'm holding it all in.
I've got 2 words to say.
Okay.
I've got 3 words to say.
Alright. It's quite a cool setup, actually, that they've got. With the multiple floors.
Yeah. Those guns on the window. Wow, this is kind of the biggest shot of the full set that we've seen.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
Oh, the pizza boxes. He's gone back to being the...
Do you reckon they all ate pizza
Pause. Alright, Jake, your 3 words.
That was garbage.
I thought you were going to say something else, but that's applicable.
Yeah, that was... It was good for about 5 minutes.
So I'll let me put it like this. I think this episode was a brilliant idea, and I think I feel like this was a Russell T idea. It feels to me like something like Russell T Davies would do, because it reminds me a lot of the subplot from Army of Ghosts with Gareth and Ada Whaler.
Yeah.
But in reverse, and it's like what would have happened after.
Yeah.
But it's the problem is the execution is so bad.
Just like how, like, I don't know. It was just so fucking bland.
It's not only just the execution of like what we got. It's also, unfortunately, on top of that, there's also a lot of like plot holes as well, and like a lot of really like poor logical bits in there. Like like there's no way that Yanta would have been able to get a cyber conversion unit in there. Absolutely no way. And also, the fact that Jack bled and had a scar makes no sense, because in the first episode he was shot in the head and it healed. So that doesn't make sense either. And that's let alone the
thing with the door unlocker thing as well.
Yeah.
Just like, oh yeah, I happen to have this.
Then you've got a bunch of like really weird choices from characters. Like there's a lot of standing around when they could be doing something. And it was just, it was so melodramatic as well.
So god awfully melodramatic as well.
And like I said with Day One, and Day One was pretty dodgy, but especially here, Chris Chibnall's dialogue is appalling.
Fucking garbage.
It's honestly, I've seen a lot of Chris Chibnall's work. I have the opinion that overall his dialogue is not the best, but I don't think it's ever been worse than this for me. Like, I've seen some really bad Chris Chibnall dialogue, don't get me wrong, but this was so bad.
This is possibly one of the worst episodes of television I've ever watched.
I think that's a fair shout. Like, and it's really disappointing, because it's such a brilliant idea for an episode.
Such a good idea. It was a cool idea, but just like, what the fuck? How? I don't know. I can't imagine how the actors read the script and acted it and went, oh yeah, that was good. No, that was fucking awful. I don't know. Just following such a good episode as well. Just like,
I mean,
so dodgy.
the way Gareth David Lloyd, in his performance, it's probably a part of it definitely down to like the direction based on the script, possibly the performer himself as well. Because I do think Gareth David Lloyd's a good actor overall, but he was directed to be really over the top with like how emotional he was, and it didn't work.
It just became comedic.
Yeah.
It just
and
became unbelievably bad.
And the thing that tops it off for me, like, which is one of the most laughably bad scenes in the Doctor Who universe, is when Lisa takes the pizza delivery girl, does a full-on brain transplant, a full brain transplant into another human being within the space of 5 minutes. And then, not only does that make absolutely no sense and be completely ridiculous, she then says, remember that time we were snuggled up in a tent and the dog was pissing on it? And then Jansen goes, it's so funny.
It was so awful.
It's so bad. Like, honestly, this makes the sex gas look like nothing.
Yeah, mate, at least that was like... At least I was laughing because it was actually meant to be funny. But...
It blows my mind that this is a Cyberman story. This is a Cyberman story.
Okay, and okay, look. Don't bash me. Like, I don't really enjoy the Cyberman stories that much. And
I think you said you vastly preferred Army of Ghosts, Doomsday over Rise of the Cybermen, though.
Yeah. But this just, like, perpetuated that, like... kind of distaste for the Cybermen stories, but it was just just so many things. Like, they're just standing and just watching, and then they just say something dumb, and then they just run off. what was it, like Gwen watching fucking Jack get zapped, and then Owen's like, oh, he should be dead, and then they run off.
Oh god, that's so weird. I think I'm not sure if this is if I like this like ironically or unironically, but I think my favorite scene in the episode was when the Cyberwoman got attacked by the pterodactyl. That was really fun.
Yeah. I think because it just got so bizarre, where that was like, I don't know.
Oh man.
I thought he was going to torch him, like, you know, like, because he said, this will give you a bit of heartburn, and I thought he was going to fucking make a mad flamethrower, but then he didn't even do anything. He just held, like, a flame there, just like, I got some fire, and then a pterodactyl came, so.
Oh man, if this episode could have been done so differently, and it actually would have been really great, because the base under siege is something that Doctor Who's really good at. The base under siege,
and you can make it horrific, and you can make it like this. Definitely had some gruesome scenes.
Oh yeah, like when the guy from China who got half converted in his head, that was gross. But then you also had that scene where he takes off his glasses.
Oh my god, on the operating table, and he's like, what does he say? Like, sometimes to.
He's being all like philosophical.
When that line happened, I was like, oh no, this is the end. Because the first 5 minutes was good.
Yeah, the setup was interesting, because it's like, it
was interesting.
Like, conceptually, on paper, Yanta, who is this guy we know nothing about, is hiding his girlfriend underground, who's a Cyberman, and he's trying to resurrect her because he loves her and he wants her to live, but then he also wants to convert her back to human, but that's not possible, and it's heartbreaking for him. And then obviously he has to accept her dying in the end. But then you watch the episode and it's like, how did you fuck this up so badly? Yeah. It's a brilliant idea, and it's crap. It's
fucking awful.
Yeah. And also because it was a base under siege and the pacing wasn't well handled, it all feels like one long scene.
Yeah, it just never ended. Nothing. I think. What did I say? I was like, finally, someone's doing something. And like, it just felt like nothing was happening.
And if you contrast that to another base under siege story that feels like all one scene, that's brilliant, and that I know you have seen, Midnight. that
Yeah,
Midnight is what you're meant to do with a base under siege, whereas this isn't.
Yeah. Good thing is I don't really remember. I know what the premise of Midnight is, but I don't remember a lot of the dialogue and stuff. So I'm actually looking forward to.
Yeah, that'll be
watching
good
that.
when you get back to that again. But as a comparison, that is also an episode that takes place.
Yeah.
It's basically one long scene, but that episode in terms of execution is pretty much perfect in my opinion. Whereas this is like this is so bad that I've probably laughed the hardest I've ever done on this channel ever. Like that was.
Yeah. I nearly stood up and just walked off because I just couldn't handle it anymore. It was hard to watch. It was a very difficult episode to watch.
Yeah, and again, like I feel bad about it because Yanto is such an interesting idea for a character, and the actor who plays him, like in the previous episodes, he really suited the role, and then they just pushed it so hard down the like. My girlfriend's dying, and it just doesn't work.
Oh, it's just like at one point you would surely be like, all right, I gotta, gotta kill this thing. It's trying to kill some other people, and he's like, no, the dog pissed on the tent.
God, that still makes me laugh.
Fucking dumb.
Oh dear.
Yanto, it's me,
Yeah.
Lisa. No.
But so I think it's safe to say this is quite an infamous episode. Like it's widely panned. When people talk, like I said with the day one review, people talk about Bad Torchwood, they talk about the sex gas and they talk about Cyberwoman.
Really?
Yeah, they're like those two episodes, and when people talk about Bad Torchwood, they stick out first because they have the most like facetious ideas, like a sex gas alien, and then the Cyberwoman memorable ideas, but in execution it's like whoa.
Just yeah.
But yeah, God, I mean,
man. So two Chris Chibnall stories and both just complete fucking misses.
Yeah, really rough start for him. In my personal opinion, I think there are things that he has written in Doctor Who or Torchwood that is much better than this. But this is definitely one, like, this episode is one of the worst things he's written for the universe. It's just, on almost every level, he took a brilliant idea and just squashed it. And, like, the thing is, like, some of the characters aren't even that bad. Like, Jack wasn't necessarily a bad character, although I will say the plot hole about his scar was, I didn't like the way it was written. But, like, in terms of his character, it wasn't too bad, like,
was overacted at points as well.
Yeah,
though.
to be fair, there was a bit of that. But I think, again, that comes down to the whole direction. The director, whoever they were, was really pushing the melodrama in it. Especially with Gareth David Lloyd, but also John Barrowman did a little bit. Especially the scene where he's pointing the gun at Yanto.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
And I understand that it was meant to like invoke tension, but it was just too overplayed. They pushed it too far.
Yeah. Oh my god, that part where they're like all talking and Owen's knocked out and then suddenly he's awake again. That was so fucking weird. And it was like there was no indication that he woke up or anything. The only thing is he's just rubbing his neck and then he says some fucking line. Like he's been knocked out and actually heard the whole conversation.
Yeah.
And
also like the intensity of the scene with Jack pointing the gun at Yanto is meant to make you feel like on edge, right? But the way it was executed, it was like, you need to go in there and execute her, and then it's like a close up of Yanto who's like, you can't stop me.
Yeah. Well, it was just like double bluffs everywhere.
Yeah.
It was like, you execute her or I'll execute you, and you're like, you won't execute me. It's like, you bastard. Go in there.
I may have I think I may have in the Smith and Jones review I talked about how there are some criticisms of the Davies era for some people believe there's too much overacting, and I said that in defense I felt like a lot of it was fitting of the tone, or it felt right, talking about certain scenes from that show. But in this case, this is where it goes too far for me. Like this is where they are right, that there's too much overacting, because it was just
100%.
Like I've used a phrase on this channel before about how sometimes the show will quote unquote squeeze the lemons, which is a little bit of a funny quote I use, in the sense of like talking about like the beach scene from Doomsday squeezes the lemons with the acting, right?
Yeah.
Basically it stems from like a video I did before where we were talking about it, and I was meant to say cut the onions, but I said squeeze the lemons instead. So that's kind of become the new catchphrase. But squeeze the lemons is kind of a way. It's a way that you progressively build tense emotion out of a scene, and it's very external. And I feel like it works a lot in Davies episodes, especially with Doomsday is one good example of that. But here, this is where like the lemons are like squashed and like completely just gone, and it's just it's ridiculous. It was so overblown, and just you couldn't take it seriously. You couldn't suspend your disbelief that this was a real thing.
No. Nothing hit its mark.
Yeah.
I mean, the only cool thing was how gruesome that doctor was.
Oh yeah, that was cool, and also the pterodactyl fight was pretty cool. But it was a disaster, basically. It was a mess, an absolute mess. I did like the scene with Reese though on the phone. That was pretty funny. Where he's like, "I'm drunk out and I got to getting a curry." Yeah. I'm getting a curry.
10 seconds of something that's kind of okay.
But yeah. Oof.
All right. I've said my bit. I don't have any more to say about this.
So, this has extremely mixed reviews. This episode gets a lot of hate and a lot of love. Another thing that a lot of people criticize is the design of the Cyberwoman. Like how she's got like, she looks too sexual. Like she's got like a breastplate, she's got high heels, which is kind of true. Like why the hell would you design a Cyberwoman with breastplate and high heels? I suppose it was, you can maybe make up in your head, maybe like Yanto was like, I want her to look pretty. But it was pretty funny. Like,
yeah.
God. Oh wow, here we go. This is interesting. So Daniel Matez Dogny of Den of Geek reacted positively, stating it was surprisingly absolutely brilliant. A mini tragedy of sorts about secrets, obsession, and corruption that finally gave both Gareth David Lloyd something interesting to do and the series something much needed focus. How often does that happen on television? They said it was a step in the right direction, adding it was everything I could have ever wanted from a Torchwood episode. The thing is, like, I feel like he's saying that in concept. Because in concept, I can see where he's coming from. It's just...
In context.
Like, in the concept of what they're trying to do with Yanto.
Right.
I can see what they mean, because, like I said at the start, it is a brilliant idea. It's just...
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, there's no focus to that episode. There is... Well, there is a focus, but the execution of the focus is not.
On the other side, we have someone that says, after this week's Cyberwoman nonsense, Torch script would be a better idea. He said, it's awful, it's horrific, it seriously sucks. Adding a single nice thing that we can find to say is that the concept had potential. I agree. Despite a strong but somewhat morally ambiguous ending, really should have delivered more in the spectacular fashion than this. Stating that we wanted spin-off series about him because he was cocky, cool, and downright entertaining. Buzz Lightyear meets Ace Rimmer meets James Bond. We didn't want some grumpy immortal bastard with a chip on his shoulder. I disagree with that. I do think... I like the idea of Jack breaking at the seams. It's just the execution. Yeah. I think... Because it worked really well in the last episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Chris Chibnall wrote this. Wrote, in quotation marks. Basically, Davies asked him to write an episode about a cyber girl in the basement of the hub. That was the brief. And this is what we got. Yeah. Oh boy.
Kind of guffed that one, Chris.
But yeah, there's quite a few plot holes. You know, the first is that he did not make clear everything about Lisa, including the scene where she acted human, was all part of her plan for Cyberman influence on to take over her, and reflected into adding at least 2 lines of dialogue to explain her motives clearly. The second was Jack having a cut on the lip in his end. Gareth David Lloyd stated the reasoning behind the cut was there because Jack's immortal's powers would only deal with life-threatening wounds and not minor injuries. That's a stretch. Okay, so I do have an interesting thing to say about the direction. I think some of it was a bit too hectic, but I think the style of the set was okay. Like the way that they made it all red was interesting, I will say, at the very least. But it definitely felt way too hectic to be comprehended properly. It felt like, again, like we said with the start of Ghost Machine, there was too much shaky cam, too much crash zooms.
Yeah.
And I feel like you needed a bit more. They needed to have a bit more patience to pull this off, because it was so fast.
I think that toning down some of those like drama scenes as well just really would have stopped it from spiraling out of control as well, to a point where it just was like laughable.
Yeah, it felt like it was really trying to it was quite artificially intense rather than organically intense. And that's the issue I had, was that, as compared to something like in Ghost Machine when Owen had the flashback, that was organically intense.
Yeah. Or and like the scene in the lounge of Edward's.
Absolutely, yeah. Whereas here, it felt like they were really trying to push it.
They were forcing tense. Yeah. And just like, definitely, I agree with you. The sets were cool. Like everything looked cool. Like visually, it was appealing.
Yeah.
But like, that doesn't make up for anything else. Like, I don't know. I'm not gonna say an episode's good because it looked good.
Yeah, and but yeah, again, like if this had been written better and executed better, the direction wouldn't have been a problem. I think it was more so just otherwise. It was more so the blocking and like the acting direction was the issue rather than the sets.
Yeah, 100%. Some of the camera work was okay, but no.
Yeah.
It was a shit show from the start, let's be honest.
There was one thing though that I did really like about this episode.
One redeeming quality.
One thing I really liked, and that is a track by Ben Foster called Another Day, Another Death.
Okay. That was a good segue.
Yeah. I actually really like this one, but we'll see what you think. Yeah, so I actually really like that track. I think it worked.
Yeah, that was
I think
nice. It's nice. It's got like a nice simple melody, and it's got that Torchwood sound effect
reverse-
thing in the middle to like bridge it.
Reverse electronic percussion, I think it was what it's called. I could be sounding pretentious as
Yeah.
hell, but I think that's what it's called.
Just like
Yeah.
What's cool is at the end of it, the like reverse like it's just the piano melody reverse.
One thing I love about it is that the sound at one point sounds like it's in another room, and that's to emphasize
Yeah.
that there's something going on in another room.
Yeah.
Also, that just reminds me again, how the hell did they not know about it if they had heat signals? Would they not have checks to see who's in Torchwood? How he's smuggled a hit in there for like months. What's going on here? This is stupid. Oh, God. This makes no sense.
Dumb.
It's very contrived. But yeah, anyway, the music, I think I'm sad that it was wasted on this episode because it's really good.
Yeah.
It's a really good track.
Yeah. That is a good track.
Yeah. Oh well.
I think the second song in the episode, the one where they're like all walking outside looking like the Matrix, that song was really cool. I was going to comment on it saying it reminded me of a Massive Attack song.
Ah, yeah.
But, yeah. But then it devolved into shit.
True. So the new mayor, New Cardiff News Cuddle, appears from Boomtown. So the one from Boomtown that had Margaret the Slitheen on the front was in this.
Oh, yeah.
And in Army of Ghosts, the characters that are emailing each other, so Adewale, who is played by Freema Agyeman, who actually plays Martha now, who's meant to be Martha's cousin, her storyline with Gareth, funnily enough, he's called Gareth. The actor who plays Yanto is also called Gareth, weirdly. Right. But basically, Yanto and Lisa is meant to mirror that sort of thing. The viewership was 1.4 million. So for Doctor Who standards, that's extremely low. But this was actually considered high ratings for a BBC Three show. So the thing is, the ratings for the first 2 episodes were extremely high for BBC Three, and these are just still high, but not really high. Yeah. So you do have to put that in perspective. But 1.4 for Torchwood, yep, still really high.
Yep, pretty good.
Yeah.
Too bad it was a shit episode.
We're interested to see the ratings for the next episode. We'll see how much carryover that has. Your conclusion and rating out of 10 for Cyberwoman.
My conclusion, I didn't like that at all. I didn't enjoy any of it. I mean, okay, that's a lie. The start was cool. But it just annoys me that it was wasted so much, and the concept and the potential of it being a pretty interesting story and a pretty like well thought out like character story as well for Yanto just absolutely flushed down the drain really annoys me, and the fact that it kind of was put onto television and no one really second guessed whether this was good or not is also annoying. This is gonna be my first ever 0 out of 10.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
This was garbage.
Wow. So last week we had the Shakespeare Code, which was a 10, and this week we have Cyberwoman, which is a 0. Oh.
Yeah, this was garbage.
Yeah.
I will gladly never watch this episode ever again.
Fair enough. So again, like I echo a lot of your sentiments. It's, funnily enough, a bit like The Idiot's Lantern. It had a really good idea that wasn't executed well.
Yeah.
But the interesting thing is, I recently rewatched not the episode, but our reaction to Idiot's Lantern, because I'm compiling like a little video thing for the 500 subscribers live stream, and so I've been watching a few videos to pick up some highlights, and. As much as overall the feeling on Idiot's Lantern was negative, there was actually a few moments in that episode that weren't too bad.
Yeah.
It's just the main stuff that stuck out was negative, like the over the top stuff, the characterizations of the leads and the wire and some of the Dutch angles is a really disorientating thing. but then you got some really cool stuff like Cyberwoman has a great idea with the TV sucking your face. You've got the Connolly's son was a really good performance from a child who was tormented by his father. Then you've got like there's a scene when the Doctor is away from Rose because she's been taken, and he goes into the house where they're keeping the faceless people, and he's asking questions, and that scene's actually quite good, and there's some funny humor in there, and like the Idiot's Lantern has some redeemable things despite the shit we give it, but this is even worse than that.
Yeah.
And in terms of my rating, I'm not going to go as low as you.
You can't go lower. That's for sure.
Well, Anthony wanted to give something that we reviewed like a negative, but I said no, you can't do negatives. But because I think there is a brilliant episode in there, I think that deserves some credit, and there are tidbits in there that I like. But it's only about 5 to 10% of the episode. There's some moments that I'm like, if this was just slightly shifted sideways, it would work. And so, because of that, I think because it's not too far removed from a good episode, it's a great idea that could have been done well. It's just off all the way through. And I really don't like it, but I think somewhere buried deep within Cyberwoman, there's a classic. I'm going to give it a 3.
Okay. I do agree with you, like, there is a good episode in there, but I'm not going to rate an episode if based on there being something good in there.
Yeah,
you know?
And also, it's complicated, because the thing with these reviews so far is that we haven't really watched a lot of stuff that I don't like, because I'm a big fan of Russell Davies' era Doctor Who, right? So it's kind of hard for me to compare to other things I don't like yet. Because, yes, this is a really bad episode, but things that I rate like 2, 1 out of 10, like that level, I have a lot more personal beef with, whereas this is just crap. Like, it's just a really good idea, executed crap that I can move on from. Whereas something that's lower than this is something that like properly aggravates me, or is or like because say for example, like, I think if you were to fuck up a finale this bad, I think it would be worse.
Oh yeah.
I think that would be a lot more disappointing, because at the very least this does kind of like, it's a shit Cyberman execution for a story.
Well, at least it's episode 4.
Yeah, it's a shit Cyberman story, and it kind of hits a brick wall with Yanto's character because he was really interesting to start with, but it doesn't ruin more than that. It's just a really shit individual episode, so I'm going to give it a 3. I think that's fair. And also, if this didn't have a good concept, it would probably be a 2, but because it has a great concept, I think I'll give it a 3. And there's some redeeming things, like the track we listened to, some of the sets are cool. I like the pterodactyl fight. There's little bits in there that I'm okay with, but overall it's below average.
Ooh. Someone's vacuuming. Ooh. Sorry if you guys can hear it, but you might not be able to.
I'll give it a 3. Poor stuff here. This is the worst thing we've done so far, I think. Out of you and I. There's worse stuff that I've seen with other people, but in terms of stuff that I've done with you on this channel, this is the worst, I think.
Yeah, I agree. This is the worst thing we've reviewed.
Yeah. Which is really saying something, because the Idiot's Lantern was crap.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Oh boy. What do we got next?
Alright, next we got episode 5 on Torchwood, which is called Small Worlds.
Small Worlds. Okay.
So, hopefully they'll be able to bounce back. What are your anticipations and hopes and desires for Small Worlds?
Hope for not a Chris Chibnall story, please. And I would rather have, like, I don't want to do this good than bad episode thing. I want a good episode again, but I want a string of good episodes. So, hopefully some good writing and just some good dialogue that doesn't make me cringe at every fucking word that's said.
God. God, Chibnall was appalling this episode.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
we will wait and see what happens. I think again, like on a final note, I said this sort of with day one, but with this episode, even though it is garbage, I do think it's a good one to review because there's things to talk about. Like at the very least, it is.
There's talking points. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I do agree. Can't only review good things.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's good constructive criticism as well because it's like this is what not to do. You know.
Yeah, if any of you are gonna make a Doctor Who, or even if any of you are gonna write something, right, that's viewing this, just think about tropes. Think about in scenes that you've watched.
Think about
before,
how human beings speak to each other.
Yeah, and also just play it, read it aloud in the way that you want your character to read it before finalizing what you've written. And if you cringe at what you've written, it's not a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And again, like I said in the day one review, it kind of blows me away that the person who wrote this episode did Broadchurch. That is insane, because Broadchurch is like a fairly universally acclaimed drama series that is wildly popular, and yet he wrote this.
Yeah, pretty funny.
I mean, he must have really pulled something out of the hat with Broadchurch, because jeez Louise. It's also possible that this may have been rushed as well. Like, we do have to take that into consideration, that this may have been a last minute episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, at the end of the day, we can only judge the final product, and the final product was balls. So yeah.
Balls and
Oh yes. So we will see you all next time for Small Worlds.